Or some shit.
If we don't talk about nothing else today, especially because there's people in the room, L put, I wish MJ and Prince would have taken a break like Eddie did from Hollywood. And the only reason that stood out is because Dave Chappelle just won the Mark Twain Award. And his, Lex, we talked about it, his acceptance speech and how he bigged up his mom and the concept of a griot. I don't know if you guys saw that. Some of the most beautiful shit I've ever seen, especially somebody who's accumulated that much wealth and that much stature in Hollywood. We talk about it all the time. I think people forget Prince was 17 when he first left Minneapolis and got to Hollywood. MJ, we don't even need to talk about how young he was in terms of that. But can you offer more clarity on why you said that and why you referenced it to Eddie Murphy especially?
Tell you the truth, that actually came from the horse's mouth. That came from Eddie Murphy.
Wow.
Eddie was just like, he was, Eddie's back outside right now, but just in seeing like the climate and just how much time he's been off. Eddie took off like, I think it was 7 or 8 years or something like that. But what he was talking about, or what he was referencing, was just he really wishes that that those two individuals, given what their demise ended up being,
and those are his friends too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That they would have taken off from Hollywood the way that he did, in order to just, because what he ended up doing, what he realized was that he really loves family, and he really loves putting the effort into raising family. So he got his home, he got 10 children, got his family together. Everybody can pull up in there, and they, he does the day to day. Like, he's like, bro, I'll be just laying on the couch or whatever, and just like chopping it up with my children. And I'm like, I'm dad. I'm not Eddie Murphy. You know what I mean? So like, that's the stuff that he lives for. And it gave him something outside of the strains of Hollywood. Yeah. So then when he reinserted himself, it was just on passion projects. You know what I mean? Like, everything he plans on doing is just going to be out of passion again, just because of the amount of time that he did not have to be pulled, by something that basically runs you into the ground. Just for your talent, you know what I mean? So that was powerful to me when I heard that, when I just heard him say that, because that's like a lot of the transitioning that I had with what resonated with me, with like, the difficulties that, started hitting me in life, was just like, oh, maybe my priorities are out of whack. You know what I mean? Like, maybe that's what it comes down to. So just going back to the drawing board and realizing that, man, maybe I put way too much stock into what my expectations are. You know what I mean? What other people think of me, and what they expect me to be. You know what I mean? And I need to put more into just what, just literally the stepping stones of each and every day, the routine of each and every day, some of the things that that I can naturally pull to or draw myself to, that won't veer me so far off course, if I could just pull myself back in by having those natural foundational pieces to myself. Yeah. Go back. That's what I was talking about before, when I was like, I had to completely rewire and rebuild my foundation before I could start building a house again by myself. I had to do that naturally. So that's really what I got out of just that quote was probably about 2 sentences long, but that's how much it touched me, because I was like, damn, like, we can go full throttle and be drawn, like, push ourselves right into the ground, and then from there we ain't got nothing. You know what I mean? Like, folks and sucked us dry, and now we have nothing to pull ourselves up from. You know what I mean? So it was just like taking a step back and reinserting yourself a different type of way.
The shit about especially the GOATs, because I mean those comparisons in terms of like that level of success, I think it is only Eddie, MJ, and Prince that can kind of relate, and maybe Mike Tyson too, that can relate to like being fucking phenomenons, at that level where you don't have no privacy, no more, no nothing, where that all kind of goes away, especially that 80s, early 90s sort of thing where it wasn't no social media or nothing like that. So you really were, they had that mystique. So that, you know, those are the comparables. But Andre 3000, I keep going back to it. Dave Chappelle and the conversations they're having in and around success and fame. And we're talking about people that have had that Outkast is diamond for crying out loud, you know. And ultimately what I'm hearing in their conversations is like, yo, that shit ain't everything. I still suffer from a lack of confidence. I still suffer from, you know, the things that come with the lack of confidence and all these things. Like it you know, so it kind of puts perspective, especially for somebody like me who still probably up until this year was still holding on to like fame, for lack of a better words, or like what I thought it could bring. They just deaded all that shit for me in the last 2 weeks. It's like, let that go.
I love how that stock is depreciating. I love how fame is depreciating. I love how the token of being a certain type of financially wealthy is depreciating, which is thereby depreciating the value of the millions. It's not important that we don't have financial stability, but what it's saying is like, that's not the pursuit, right? Yes. That's not that means. That's an outcome, if you will. It remind me, for real, go ahead and just quote the great American poet, Rex Life Raj, right? Overrated, right?
Overrated.
That record, what it unpacks, what it makes us wrestle with is these ideas. And especially, I just want to relate to you too on this whole notion of whatever they define as up and coming, but the way that goals kind of resonate with me, and what I think I heard in you is that, like, I won't cease. I'll keep working because work ethic means something.
Absolutely.
But there's so much other character evolution. There's so much personal wellness. There's so much more of yourself that you have to also take inventory of.
Absolutely.
Because the current and the river is always changing.
Absolutely.
And when you hear somebody like, you know, Stacks talk about the pressure of having to deliver and the pressure of not having time for self, it really makes you look at, so what are the other ways creative can tell story, can connect, can be more of an asset, right, than just a commodity.
Yes.
Because that commodity model just gets you burned out.
Absolutely.
Completely.
Man, and I think that's what, you know, just again the ecosystem, and I think especially people that haven't taken like economics just in general as a course, and how far you can study that and the depths you can sort of study economics into, and what affects the other